Welcome back. Bright and shiny another day out here. It is now Friday, December 6th. I had a long week of work-related stuff, everybody in the office, annual training, all kinds of stuff like that. That's over. I'm off today, completely off, and I'm going to try and get caught up on some of the more small little systems things and other stuff that started doing. Some more stuff came in the mail. We got the bulkhead fittings that hopefully will work for the AOA Pitot lines. I'll probably start on that first. I got a piece of black Delrin rod in. This will be for the aileron stops, so at some point I'll take that back off, make these stops, and put those on. All of this may be part of this video, I'm not sure. It just depends on where my scatterbrained mind decides to take me this morning. I got a shipment from Stein. I got their pin extractor insertion tool. I have actually used a lot of these in my professional life. Usually they're plastic and they break like these parts are, so very hopeful that this metal one will hold up and do the job nicely. Also from Stein, I got their Molex crimpers. I have a pair that does the conductor and the shield at the same time, or the conductor and the insulation at the same time, but I've never been fully happy with it. It's temperamental. This does them in individual steps, so hopefully this will make nicer Molex crimps for me. The other day, I know I kind of partially showed it when I got the Pitot probe, but I actually also got the Dynon Servo wire kit. This will be to wire up the roll servo in that wing, so I'll get that wire run. I'll pin out the D-sub connector that goes to it. Also from Stein, I've got 50 feet of 18 gauge Tefzel wire. I didn't have anything quite that small. The stuff I have is a lot thicker. The stuff you've seen me use on the lights so far. So 18 gauge, this is going to be for the annunciator circuit attached to the heater box. There's 3 wires that need to go out there. One's for the annunciator light, that'll be this. The power wires, also from Stein. This is 14 gauge twisted pair Tefzel wire in black and red. They already had this kind of made up, so it just seemed like a good way to go for this. So those 3 wires will get pulled into the bay and have a connector put on them so they can get connected up to that heater box. What else do we got? Oh, from our friends at Joaquin Hanai Technology, I don't know, 100 feet of RF400 or RG400. This is antenna wire for your different systems in the plane. I bought this now just so I can run a length of it out through to my wingtip in my left wing. Is that what I was planning to do? I think it was. Out to the wingtip in the left wing, where at some point I'll have an Archer style VOR ILS antenna. So that'll go there. Anything that's left over will probably get used for the other comm antennas. 100 feet of it. Hopefully there's enough to do everything I need to do. And yeah, the stuff's not cheap. So last thing came in from eBay to make those Delrin spacers is this 8mm drill bit. Apparently 8mm is the exact diameter of the current spacers that are on there. So I'll take the rod, I'll drill an 8mm hole out of the middle so that the spacer can go in, and then this thing will go on. I'm not sure this is going to be thick enough. It doesn't look thick enough to do the job, but we're going to give it a shot. This is what people were recommending online, was a 1/2-inch rod. So yeah, that's it. Try not to drag this out any longer. Going to go ahead and get back to work, and whatever you see me doing is what I end up doing. I'm sure VoiceOver Tim will tell you what actually ended up getting done. Hope you enjoy it, and I will see you later. Welcome to the voiceover part. Yep, Scatterbrain Tim bounced all over the place on this. Part of it was because I was waiting on some stuff to come in, so I kind of bounce around. Got a lot of little things done though, more cleanup stuff inside the wing, one step closer to being able to say I'm ready to put the bottom skins on. Anyhow, right now you saw I was fitting those bulkhead connectors for the Pitot AOA lines, and I was just making sure they're going to fit the way I wanted them to, and they do. So you saw me jump away from it. That's because I pulled the Pro Seal out of the fridge. I wanted to give it a chance to warm up before I put those in. So I bounced over and am pulling that wire, the 2-conductor 14 gauge as well as that single 18 gauge wire that's going to power the heater box for the Pitot probe. So that's done. The wire's pulled and a new pull string's pulled in there. Mixed up a small batch of Pro Seal now that it's thin enough to mix, and I'm just putting a little bit of it on the middle of that bulkhead fitting. I'm also flipping one of the fittings around, so one's coming in one side, one's going the other way because they're slightly longer on one side versus the other. This way my connections are staggered. I figured it'll make it a little easier when it's time to actually attach the Pitot probe lines later on, since I'll have limited access in that side. So there you see them Pro Sealed in. You see that stagger I was talking about. And then I went ahead and put the fittings on for the lines, got those connected. Real clean, real happy with the way that came out. I like it a lot. I think that's going to work well. Moving on, now it's time to get the heater box mounted. You see I got a clamp there just very lightly holding it in place for me, so I can wiggle it around and get it what I think is centered, and then just a matter of using the right angle drill out the holes, and then I'm going to use those holes as guides for the number 6 nut plates that I'm going to put in there. I did buy pre-dimpled nut plates. Those are amazing if you have the opportunity. Way better than trying to dimple your own. It's just mark them out, get the holes drilled, get everything dimpled, and then I'm going to go through with the squeezer and get them all set. So they're all in. Now it's time to attach the box with the screws. Real clean, real easy, and I should have good access to it through the access panel right there around where that bell crank is at. More importantly, everything is tied up and clean and away from the bell crank. Now this is where I had to stop. There you can see it all installed. Looks really nice. I couldn't wire up any of it because I was waiting on some Molex connectors to show up. So I went ahead and went back to the left aileron because my Delrin that I showed you in the beginning came in. So this first part's me taking it apart. There you can see the insert I made installed into the Delrin. I didn't get any good video of me making that. Trust me, I came up with a lot of creative solutions to try and drill a perfectly centered hole inside of that stock. Thumb was almost broken on the drill press, but we're not going to talk about that. Good news is it got drilled, and the 1/2 inch size is perfect. It's actually 13 millimeter, but they called it 1/2 inch. So now you see me using my little angle meter, and I was checking the upper limit of the aileron to make sure it met spec. There you see the spacer installed, and it's perfect. I've got 32 degrees of up travel, which is what the book says the max should be, and then it contacts the stop. Here you can see our new puppy, Sadie. So joining me in the garage for a little bit, at least before her mom comes and steals her back. Getting ready to install the roll servo cable from Dynon, and I'm going to go ahead and make up the D-sub connector, the end that's going to go to the servo itself, and then I'm going to pull that wire through the conduit and then coil it up and zip tie it on the inboard edge of the wing, just like I did the other wires, just so it's run and it's built and ready to go. I have that pin crimper you see there. It came with the Deutsch connector kit, but unfortunately it is meant for much bigger pins than what I'm trying to put on here, so it doesn't have a good built-in stop. So instead, I'm just going to go ahead and solder the pins on, which Steinair says is perfectly acceptable. So does Dynon. You just tin a little solder inside the cup of the pin, tin the wire, and then heat them up and push them together. And there's a little witness hole that you can tell that you've, one, pushed the wire in far enough, but it'll also spew out any excess solder if you put too much in there. What you don't see is I have the wiring schematic from Dynon up on the screen on my big TV there. It's nice having that little computer out there hooked up now so I can go do stuff like that. And there's just 4 wires in that bundle, as far as I can tell, that actually go to that D-sub pin. They just go to 4 different spots in there. The other 3 wires, the yellow, the black, and the red, say they get spliced directly later on. I guess I'll find out when I finally get a servo to install. If not, I'll have easy access to this and I can change it all later if I have to. Just put the back shell on. Retrospect, I probably should have put a piece of heat shrink around all of those where it goes through the strain relief, but I think it's going to be okay. And then I just go pull it through the wing and got it zip tied up in place. Oh, yep, before I do that, something else that's new to me, wire lacing. I ordered a spool of this from Wire Care. This stuff's not terribly cheap for what it is, but it does work really nice. I've never used it before. I was never a Boy Scout nor a sailor, so knots are not a natural thing for me. I am looking at, I think it was Paul Dye's write-up in Kit Planes magazine on how to tie wire lacing as I'm doing this. Hopefully I'll get better, but it worked out really well. I do like it. It's, I think, a little easier and cleaner than the zip ties. Definitely easier on the hands so you don't catch the little jagged ends. But I just wire laced the part of this that's going to be outside of the conduit for now, and then I'll probably do the other side when it goes into the plane later. But it was only a few of them. So now that's done, I'll go install it in the wing, get it pulled through, and here's a picture of it installed, ready to go, along with a new pull string in case I need it. And my Molex connectors finally came in, so the last part of this is me putting the Molex connectors on the heater box so I can get it connected, and then that is all going to be done and good to go. The only problem I had here was my wires that I got from Steinair that I'm going to use to power this are 14 gauge, which is the recommended size for the length of run that I should be doing. My crimpers are only good for, I think it was down to 16 gauge, so I was bouncing between crimpers trying to make this work. I did get it to work and I got a good crimp on it. I just had to kind of bounce back and forth for the 2 thicker wires. After that it was easier. And then I used one of my homemade zip tie clips to go around that conduit to secure this, secure the wire to and the connector to keep it from flopping around. Might redo it so that both ends are secured. I'm not sure yet, but for now one is plenty good enough. There you can see me using that pin tool again to install and seat those pins. Oh, and in other news, if you've made it this far, I have ordered the fuselage. So we'll see how long it takes to get here. I think Vans is saying, in the email they sent, they said 4 to 6 months. On the website, I think it's 6 months. Everything has been early so far, so I guess we'll see what it ends up actually happening. So more progress to be made. Anyhow, this is all done. I'll get that connected. You'll see me throw that clip on here in a second, and then that'll be it for this video. Next one, I'll probably go after that other aileron. I'll video the whole thing of making the spacers and the Delrin, and we'll go from there. Hope you all enjoyed it. I will see you on the next one.